Hi, everyone. My name is Angela Davis, and our reading today is an excerpt from a chapter on care in the Four Pivots by Shawn A. Ginwright. I should say Dr. Shawn A. Ginwright. So while relationships are complex, there's generally two types that we have in our lives: transactional and transformative. We are all familiar with transactional relationships because they're everywhere. Transactional relationships are based on the performance of the roles and the executions of the tasks. So most of the time, transactional relationships are defined by the titles of our jobs or our occupations. So transactional relationships are efficient in that they quickly help define how we engage with each other. Take, for example, your trip to the grocery store or a farmer's market. You may choose your items and take them to the register to determine the amount you need to pay, and the cashier performs a task, and you provide the cashier with the money in exchange for your items, and you both move on with your day. Now, there's nothing wrong with transactional relationships. Without this sort of relationship, it would be difficult to do our jobs. Transactional relationships help us to get things done quickly while having to figure out how to engage with all the roles we play at work, at home, or in our communities. And our systems are covered by performing these tasks because it's dominated by these transactional relationships in our daily interactions with each other. It's just based on efficiency. And we slowly began to erode our capacity for care, for compassion, and really all the things that make us human. Transformative relationships, on the other hand, are based in those features of life like care, vulnerability, love, curiosity, connection. Like I'm connecting with you right now. Transformative relationships are formed when we exchange pieces of our humanity with each other. Smile, I'm talking about you. When we do that, we give permission to others to do the same. These types of relationships are formed when we invest our precious time, our sacred secrets, and our raw vulnerability into each other. You know, transformative relationships, they're not neat, they're not clean, they're not efficient like transactional relationships. No, they're messy, they're confusing, they're time consuming, but they're worth it because they create these deep connections between us that force us to see things about ourselves that we hide from. And they cultivate those parts of ourselves that we didn't even know were possible. So it's a way of growing and building inside. So the chances are that transformative relationships that you have in your life, well, we've created them over time, and we've endured a bumpy road along the way. Sometimes there are those things that we think about at night while we're laying in bed, trying to make sense of, well, why did I say that? It forces us to really look at ourselves, and we're simply performing these predefined roles like teacher and student, customer and cashier, coach and player, CEO and employee. It's just not enough to get through these troubled waters together. When that happens and life shows up in these unexpected ways, transactional relationships just won't do. We need someone who will ride with us all the way to the end, a ride or die. You know what I'm talking about? Even if there's no end in sight.